Okay, so instead of using Fusion 360 because there's been so many struggles with accounts and being able to save work and time wasted trying to log in, we're going to use Onshape, which is another software that is free for education. It's very quick to make an account, and once you have it set up, there's no real hassle getting in and out of it. It also works from a Chromebook. It is web-based. If you use one of the desktop computers in the shop, it's way faster, but it's your call. It still at least works from a Chromebook. So onshape.com is where you head. For me, I already have an account, so I can go sign in. For those that don't have an account, you can create one. There is a couple questions it's going to ask, just like normal. If you want to put a fake phone number in, put a fake phone number. It doesn't matter. My school email and password's already saved because I'm using my desktop or my board laptop. Once I'm signed in, the main screen you see, there are a number of projects that have been created in the past. I'm just going to hit close on what's new. We can learn about that later. Under create, drop down, you're going to choose document and give it a name. So this is going to be a keychain demo. And the document does become public. That is the one thing when you use this and you create something with the free student account, it becomes shared on a cloud so that others can look at the file that you've made. So you would have to purchase an account if you wanted to be able to make files and projects on this that are not commercially or not available for anyone to look at. So to get started, it's a lot like Fusion. Come over here to the view cube, click on top so you're looking directly at the top. Try to always use a mouse with CAD software. It's way easier with a mouse. If you use the scroll pad and fingers, it can get frustrating. Next thing you're going to do is click the sketch button, and it wants you to select a plane. So I'm going to click on the plane that's highlighted around top, and now I can start sketching. So if I go center point rectangle, I can click in the very middle or the origin of the drawing and drag it out. So this software defaults to inches, but I'll show in the video how to switch back and forth between inches and millimeters. So you can drag out and click once. You see the box highlights, you can type in the length. So we're going to make this 3 inches. Then tab again. It should jump, or sorry, I hit enter. Then jump over to the other box. When that highlights, hit 1 inch. When I hit tab, it showed the IN pop in, so you know you're working in inches. If you want to switch to millimeters, I can just go and click the checkbox so we're out of the sketch. This is where it is here. If you want to right click the sketch and name it, you can go rename and call it Keychain Sketch so that you know what you're dealing with. When you go back in and start drawing and giving shapes and sizes and modifying what you're working with, you're going to right click and then go edit, and it brings you right back to where you can continue to draw. Do not click on sketch again and then try to trace on top of this. You have to do everything within the same sketch so that it works properly. So the next step, if you click on the 3 bars, you can go workspace units. Default is an inch. You can switch to millimeters. If you're drawing something that needs to be 3D printed, which some of the keychains, it's a good idea to 3D print just as a prototype so you can look and see what it's like in real life, you're going to have to do it in millimeters. If you're drawing something that's going straight to CNC, you can leave it in inches. So I'm leaving it in inches. I'm going to right click on my keychain, hit edit, and say I want to put a couple more features in it or change its shape. All of these tools, if you hover over it, it'll tell you what they do. For instance, this says fillet sketch. So I can click on one line, click on the other line. And then if I need to zoom in, if you want to change that, size you can. If you're happy with it, you can left click and it just stays. This box comes up. If you want to adjust and go say 0.1, you can hit tab and it'll give you a preview of what it looks like. We can go to 0.3, hit tab, perfect. And you can just change the shape of your object. If you want to add a hole somewhere in it, you can take from the circle menu and just go center point circle and click where you want to add one. You can drag it out, left click once, the box comes up. 0.25 is a good size because it's common for drill options. So we can hit enter, and if you know that where your circle is not located in the right spot, up here there's this tool that says dimension, and if you just hover over and give it a second, you can figure out what they mean. So if I click on the dimension tool, I can click on this line, come over, click on the center, drag down, click once, and then type in 0.3 for example, and then hit enter, and then say I want this circle to be the same distance from this side. I can click on the dimension tool again, click on the center point, click on the side, drag it over, and it can work. Try one more time. If you hit the escape key, that usually lets you start over. There, center point, there, click once, 0.3, enter. So now when I zoom out, you can see that I've made the lanyard loophole the same distance. It doesn't need to be that far in, that's just what I chose. If I want to hit stop sketch or OK to accept, you can always right click and hold and rotate just to put your part on a slight angle. And then up here you have options that allow you to make your object into 3-dimension. So I don't even know if draft works for this, but we could try it. So we're going to do a 3-degree draft angle. That may not even work because you have to tap to it. So I'm going to hit X to get out of that. And we'll just use extrude, which is normal. Click on the face. It defaults to 1 inch. So come over here. The keychain material we have is 0.375. So you can go 0.375 and then hit tab. And it'll bring it back down to the size that it is and click OK. So that's a super basic keychain. You could add letters to it for text. So once you've made your shape, if you want to put text on it, you could go back to the sketch function. This time you're going to click on your keychain itself. So everything you draw is exactly on the face of the keychain. Choose the A, the text tool, and then it's going to likely ask you to select a spot where you're going to start. And you drag over, you make a box. Once your box is created, you can choose a font. And then type in demo, OK, and it pops into the window. You can hit the check mark to accept it. Sorry, door knock. So those letters can be used to drive a sketch so that later on you can engrave it. It doesn't have to say SFX. It just can say whatever it needs to as long as it's appropriate. When you go to remove this, so I accidentally clicked into assembly. So right here where it says Part Studio, if you right click, you can go export, and you're going to give it a name, call it your name and Keychain, you're going to go and switch from STL is the file format you're going to select if you are going to 3D print it. IGES is the file you're going to select if you're going to email it to me so that we can put it in the CNC and make it. So you choose IGES and then download. If you're on a Chromebook, you'll likely have to save it to your Google Drive, which works perfectly fine, and then you can share it. So then you just hit OK, and you're good to go.